So I remember back during quarantine, during the lockdowns, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to create my own business. I wanted to create my own sort of income from online. As I realized that during the pandemic, it could all be taken away very fast. And I wanted to sort of create a way to make sure that just because I couldn't go outside, it didn't mean that I couldn't make any money. And so I had these huge dreams and aspirations of being financially free, being an entrepreneur, making all this money from my laptop, going anywhere I wanted, being a digital nomad, if you will. And I had these huge dreams, but I just would not take any action. I would wake up late, I would skip going to the gym, and I would say that I would do it later, but 50% of the time I didn't do it later. And I would just, instead, I would think I'm being productive by watching these top 6 mistakes you make when you're trying to get girls, or how to get girls to like you, how to be more attractive, like all these, red pill manosphere type of videos. And I thought that they would be productive. I thought that watching videos of how to be successful in your business, how to make top 5 passive income ideas, I thought all these videos would actually, they could instead substitute actually working. And I just thought watching them would be good enough because at least I'm learning something. And while it is important to always be learning something, always be learning like how to do things that you want to do, you got to take action eventually. But I just never did. Instead, I would just watch these videos while I was playing video games, watch these videos while I was just eating the worst types of food, and then I'd always wonder, why can't I do anything? And it's like, that's the reason why. I was waking up late, wasn't working out, I was just eating food, like playing video games first thing in the morning. Like, there would be days where I would literally set an alarm for, like, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was like 6:30 in the morning, 6 in the morning. I would just get up. I'd like brush my teeth as fast as I can, shower as fast as I could, and I just hop on Minecraft until like from like 6:30. I'd take like a 10-minute break to eat my lunch, and then I'd get right back on, and I just keep going until like 5 p.m. And that's usually when my parents came home, and that's when they were like, go outside. So I remember that being a big part of my quarantine adventure. I think everyone had a pretty big Minecraft phase during that. I mean, what else could you do? But I knew deep down, like, this is a waste of time. This is stupid. I should be doing something else. I should be doing something more productive. And so that's sort of where I got these like ideas of like, okay, how can I actually become more productive? How can I actually implement these? But then, quarantine sort of started to fade off, and I went back into school, and then those ideas sort of got washed away until recently I came back upon them. And now I'm going to discuss them with you. The big thing I would say during this sort of era of my life where I was just like playing video games like the entire time was that the sort of adventure and the growth I would see in video games, that was growth I could have put into my actual life, except that video games make it so you can actually see the progress and you can see your rewards in real time and like much faster than you can any other in like real life. And so that's why I funneled so much of my energy into video games. That's probably why a lot of people funnel a lot of their energy into video games, is that I had a drive, I had ambition, and I had a desire to be great. I had the desire to grow. I had the desire to build something. But instead of building something, I just built something in Minecraft. And that's sort of where I feel like a lot of my potential was wasted. That's sort of why I feel as though I put in a lot of work, but I don't have anything to show for that, which is because it's all online. So I literally don't have anything to show for it. And that's why I sort of realized like, I need to stop. I need to actually like do something, because I put all this energy into video games for what? For literally nothing. For nothing. And so that's sort of how I stumbled, or like how I started to get the ball rolling with being more productive, finding better ways to use my time, to actually work in a way that's aligned with my goals, to actually help me achieve what I want to achieve. So I would say the 3 biggest mistakes I made that really stopped me from being very productive were a huge breakfast full of sugar and just full of foods that I wanted to eat, playing a lot of video games, and working out first thing in the morning. And I know I said that I didn't work out first thing in the morning, but over time I started to become more consistent in the gym. I started to work out like first thing in the morning. But then I realized it was much harder to do my work, do like my school work later in the day. And that's sort of because I worked out first thing in the morning. My body became very tired. We're going to talk about that in a short moment. And I had no structure and no real plan for my day. I sort of just do things that I felt like, which is why I would just go about playing video games. So those are I know I said 4, but those are really 3. No structure, eating a huge breakfast, and working out first thing in the morning. When it comes to eating a huge breakfast in the morning, it is extremely detrimental to the rest of your progress, the rest of like the work that you could be doing. And for a simple reason is that when you eat, your body needs to use energy to digest the food that you ate. And if you're eating like carb heavy foods, sugary foods, processed foods, your body needs to work extra hard to digest those foods. And so your body's going to be extremely tired while you're trying to do all this mental work, all this other type of, sometimes if you're trying to do your homework or whatever, you're trying to work on a business, whatever it is, you'll just feel extremely tired. You'll feel really slow and sluggish. The reason for that is that your body's too busy working on digesting the food that you just ate to try and turn it into energy that you can use. But the issue is that you're trying to use that energy before it's even made. So that's why you're going to feel extremely tired, because your body's working in the real world, like in the outside world, and internally too, trying to digest that food. It's just not a good combo to have. Instead, what you should be doing is when you wake up, you work right away, because when you wake up, you have this like replenished energy tank. I like to think of it as like, let's say you have like a tank, or like a big jug of like water. You know, like when you go to Home Depot or any other stores, you have like these big blue like plastic water bottles that you like put on top of like a dispenser thingy. You can like pull the top and then it like dispenses water, whatever. Like those huge big blue bottles. Imagine you have one of those. It's filled up every morning when you wake up. When you eat a huge breakfast, part of that jug is going to get diminished. Part of that jug is going to get emptied because of the energy that you need to use to digest your food, and mentally it'll just bring you down for the rest of the day. So I don't eat my breakfast first. I don't eat a huge breakfast. The only breakfast I really have is just a cup of coffee. Honestly, I feel like that's done much more for me than any other breakfast has. I mean, if I have like a competition that day and like I've already weighed in like the day before or whatever, sure, maybe I might have some like carbs that day, but that's because, I'm going to need the energy directly. And even then I don't eat the carbs right away. I eat the carbs like an hour before competition, not like a few hours before that. So it seems kind of counterintuitive to everything that you've known your whole life about being well fed and eating a big breakfast before you go take an exam at school or go to school. But the reason that it seems kind of counterintuitive is because you're not supposed to be eating a very carb heavy, processed food heavy breakfast. You're supposed to be eating like, if anything, you should be eating like, eggs, some fruits, vegetables, stuff like that. Like stuff like that that's much more easier for your body to digest. It gives you like a longer amount of energy, or like energy that can last you longer. Not processed junk like cereal, Cocoa Puffs, like none of that stuff. You're supposed to be eating just straight eggs, fruits, and vegetables. That's all it should consist of. When you eat carb heavy foods, when you eat sugary processed foods, your body needs to use more energy to digest that food, and while it's digesting, you won't be able to perform as best as you can. That's why before a test or before an exam, all I have is just a cup of coffee. Maybe I might have like a little grain bar, but that's about it. That's like what, maybe 20 grams of carbs, not even, maybe like 10. So it's very minimal. Make sure I'm not starving. You don't want to be starving, but you should be like a little hungry. Being a little hungry is just really good to have in life. I'd say like I always try to go through my day being a little hungry, because it just gives me like a different type of gust. It gives me, I feel much like lighter. And I just feel, sorry, I feel much lighter. And I just feel like I have this level of like anger and like aggression and just like wanting to go get stuff done. Because when I'm hungry, I'm like trying to find food. I'm trying to get to the goal. I'm trying to get to whatever it is that will alleviate this hunger. But when I'm not hungry, when I'm full, I don't care. Like I'm full now. Why should I care? I've done what I need to do, and I'm basically clocked out for the rest of the day. Like or for the rest of, or like for the next like hour or two. But when I'm like a little hungry, I'm not done. Like it's go time. Like I'm on a different type of time when I'm hungry. So that's sort of why I try to like almost under eat a little every time I eat, because I want to have that gust, that special type of aggression with everything in my life. Now, working out first thing in the morning, that's another common, or that's like one of the big three for why work isn't, or like you can't get work done. So I would say with working out in the morning, it's a common habit. I understand it too. Like if you have to eat the frog, do it first thing in the morning. Basically means if there's something that's hard, something that you don't want to do it first thing in the morning. The thing is, when you work out first thing in the morning, back to that analogy I used with like the big jug, that's like severely empties that jug. Like I'd say if it was like one of those big jugs that you see, like the big blue ones, that's like a fourth of your energy is gone for the day when you work out first thing in the morning. Because when you wake up, that jug is replenished. That jug is completely full. And so, well, that's if you got decent sleep, and that's a whole another thing. You should be getting decent sleep if you want to become more productive. Honestly, this whole video shouldn't even matter if you're not getting the right type of sleep. That is like step zero. Step zero is fix your sleep. 8 hours minimum, no excuses. Like it's just like come on, get it together. But back to what I was saying is like with the jug, when you work out first thing in the morning, that thing gets depleted right away. And that makes it so you can't actually do any other mental work for a long time. Sometimes it's a few hours, sometimes it's the rest of the day if you worked out like really hard. And so that's why I try to do this like mental work before I go work out. I'm gonna go work out in about like an hour, like 40 minutes to an hour from now. But it's so important that you delay that working out until after you've done like the mental productive work. But if you're adamant about working out first thing in the morning, I'd say just switch out like the heavy weightlifting workouts for more like high intensity interval training. You use like kettlebells, resistance bands, that type of training, maybe calisthenics or cardio. I think that type of training is still effective at your goals physically, like with your physique, but I think it doesn't exactly hinder your like mental performance as much as heavy weightlifting does. And lastly, there was no structure to my days. I remember I'd sort of just like the only structure there really was just wake up, go to the gym, come back, shower, eat. And that was it. Like there wasn't any emphasis on what I would eat, what time I would wake up. All I just associated was waking up with going to the gym. And that was it. And so for the rest of the day, I kind of just do whatever I felt like. But as I just said with the gym, it makes you very tired. So the only thing you want to do is like not very mentally heavy work. So that included like playing video games, watching TV shows, whatever it was. And so that's why that was probably one of the biggest reasons I never got anything actually done, was that I never like scheduled anything. And so that's what I do now. And I didn't do that when I was younger, probably because I was like new to the whole self-improvement thing. And so I didn't really know where to start. I didn't really know where to go. And I was like very new to everything. But now, it's advanced. I've been in the game for about a few years now. So what I do now is I have Google Calendar, or like any other type of calendar app or whatever. I do that. I sit down for like, I think it's usually like a Sunday night that I do, or like maybe like the night before. And I schedule either the whole week or like the next day, depending on what I can. And I try to schedule every block, and I try to just be detailed in it. Like there's a feature where you can like write a description, and I write down like, okay, edit these videos, record these videos. If I have scheduled time for like the gym, I'll be like, okay, hit this exercise, make it like this intensity, 80% intensity, 90%, 70%, make it like really light, whatever it has to be. I'll have lunch, I'll say what I'm gonna have. If I have to read, I'll say what I'm gonna read, for how much, like what's the goal is. And I just schedule out my whole day. And obviously I'll have breaks of time that are like sort of unscheduled, like there's nothing there. And those are like sort of like my free time. Or it's like if anything overlaps, like if an event takes longer than it was supposed to, like let's say I'm at the gym for a little bit longer than I should have, and then everything else gets pushed back, that like break in time can get like decreased, or like whatever it needs to be. And so I'd say this has been the most effective method, besides like not skipping breakfast and just having a coffee. I'd say that this has also been the like single-handedly the most productive method, I guess, in this channel, in my own personal growth, in school. I did this a lot during school, and sort of, I just think it's amazing. I think this is a great tool that you should be using. I think it's important for you to recognize the tools and the features and luxuries that you have and use them to your advantage. I also think that this has helped me sort of dial down on all like the time wasting thing, like just not productive habits. Like, you know, I don't play any games anymore, hardly watch shows. I don't just spend time scrolling on social media because every bit of my time is blocked, so I don't end up wasting any of it. And that's what I find like really extremely beneficial, is that every bit of your time is used. So you don't have time, you don't have an excuse to waste time because you're supposed to be using it. It's busy. You're busy. Obviously, you know, there's some room for life, which is just like if something happens, like let's say you have to go somewhere or someone comes over, like you weren't expecting it, then like obviously, yeah, you know, things happen, so you can't exactly do it. But the thing is, when it's on like these calendar apps, you can shift it around, you can make it smaller or bigger, whatever, like the time, the like length of it, you can make it like smaller, bigger, whatever you need it to be. You can sort of adjust it to whatever comes up. So that's why I think Google Calendar and all these other calendar features are extremely beneficial. So yeah, quick recap. Don't eat a big breakfast before you do work. Don't work out first thing in the morning. And use like a calendar app to keep track of what you need to do for the day or the week and go off of that. So yeah, that's been it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Another pretty long one. I've just really been in the zone, man. I just really been working at it, and hope you guys have been enjoying. Hope you guys have been enjoying. And yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you found any value in this. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.